Hershey's is being now sued and the whole chocolate industry is blowing up. Last year, 2 independent non-profit organizations published 2 separate expert investigations that struck fear into the hearts of chocolate lovers, including myself. Both of them reported concerning levels of toxic heavy metals in most chocolate brands they tested.
Our tests found concerning levels of cadmium or lead, 2 toxic heavy metals, in most of the dark chocolate bars we tested.
The results are so horrific that chances are that your favorite bar is also on the naughty list.
God, please, no! No!
It seems like the darker the chocolate, the worse the results because of the cacao content. But then again, there are too many exceptions to this, and some of the more milky chocolates are also in the red. If you're thinking to yourself now that you're safe because you only buy organic, fair trade, vegan, gluten-free, sugar-free and joy-free bars, I'm gonna stop you right there. Nobody seems to be safe here. In fact, some of the high-end chocolates you can only find in specialized health stores are even worse than your regular bar from a regular supermarket.
And don't think organic dark chocolate is any better. Their test showed that the heavy metal levels in dark chocolate were just as concerning.
So what about Feastables? Consumer Reports tested 28 chocolate bars, and
all of the samples that we tested had detectable levels of either cadmium or lead.
For 23 of the bars, eating just 1 ounce or 28 grams will put an adult above the daily upper threshold of heavy metals in food as set by public health officials. As You Sow, which is the non-profit leader in the shareholder advocacy in the US, tested over 469 chocolate products for lead and cadmium. They found that 285 of the products tested contain heavy metals that are above the allowed levels in California. Following this discovery, they have filed legal notices with over 20 companies, including Trader Joe's, Hershey's, Mondelez, Lindt, Whole Foods, Kroger, Godiva, See's Candies, Mars, Theo Chocolate, Equal Exchange, Ghirardelli, and Chocolove for failing to warn consumers that their chocolate products contain cadmium or lead, or, as in most cases, both. But since Feastables are still relatively an upstart, their bars were not within the groups tested, but there still is a red flag. You might have heard that chocolate is technically one of the healthiest snacks.
Dark chocolate is rich in antioxidants and minerals that benefit your body.
But as these studies revealed the heavy metal contents of most popular chocolates on the market, the downside of cacao consumption outweighs its benefits. And again, the most vulnerable ones are the little humans. No levels of lead is safe for them. Lead exposure has been a significant public health issue for decades, and it has been linked to a variety of neurological impairments, including learning disabilities, seizures, and lower IQ. Developing fetuses and children are at a much higher risk as their brains are still in critical growth and development stages. In both children and adults, even a low concentration of lead in the blood can affect memory and cause conditions like anemia, stomach issues, and high blood pressure. So, young children and pregnant women should avoid exposure to lead at all costs. Cadmium is just as harmful. It's known to cause reproductive harm, stomach issues, and damage to kidneys, liver, and bones, and also impair neurobehavioral development.
The problem here is that no level of lead is safe. Even low levels of lead, especially if exposure to low levels continues over many months, is going to cause some degree of brain damage to at least some of the children.
Although Feastable bars tick all the boxes for a good product, and I very much commend them for using organic cocoa from Peru, grass-fed milk, GMO-free ingredients, recycled packaging, and being fair trade and having nice-looking certifications like the Rainforest Alliance seal.
They're made with only 5 ingredients, but still taste amazing.
But unfortunately, these are not guarantees for product purity. And since even the seemingly best and most expensive bars are contaminated with heavy metals, including the Who bar, which is my favorite, I cannot just trust that the Beast bars are completely free from this heavy metal infestation, even if Feastables are just 55% cocoa content. What's also alarming is that cacao sourced from Peru has been known to contain high levels of cadmium. After regulation number 1881/2006 took effect in the EU on January 1st, 2019, many European buyers have not been able to purchase cacao from many traditional regions and suppliers worldwide, including some known high cadmium regions in Peru. But there still might be a golden ticket hidden in this tragic situation. Many heavy metals, including lead and cadmium, appear naturally in soil and make their way into the food supply from the ground. Then, a lot more heavy metals have been added to the environment by human activity globally, including pollution caused by farming, industries, and transportation. So, let's focus on the lead. Lead was used in gasoline in the US for decades, and it wasn't banned till 1996. The time of its use was long enough for lead to spread throughout the atmosphere and settle on the ground, where it remains in the soil till today. In Peru, lead was introduced around 1991 and it was used till around 2004. Lead also occurs naturally in small amounts in the Earth's crust and can be found in all parts of our environment, but the majority comes from human activities like mining, manufacturing, and burning fossil fuels. Cadmium is naturally contained in all soils and rocks, but we've also been very good helpers in raising these levels with the mining industry and burning household wastes. Plants take up cadmium from the environment and later deposit it into their crops, and the same goes for animals. The complication with cacao is that lead and cadmium both seem to get into the cacao in different ways, which means that fixing this issue isn't that straightforward. The researchers looking into this found that cacao plants take up cadmium from the soil, with the metal accumulating in the cacao beans as the tree grows. So the older the trees, the higher the cadmium levels in their cacao. But lead seems to get into the cacao after the beans are harvested, and researchers found that lead accumulated mostly on the outer shell of the cacao bean, not on the bean itself. But these levels increased as the beans dried in the sun for days, during which lead-filled dust and dirt accumulated on the beans. So cleaning up cacao beans will be a tricky but a very necessary process in the future. But within this sweet tragedy, there still could be a big opportunity for Feastables. Best case, their chocolate is completely free from heavy metals, but more realistically, they can make this problem public and then build on it. I reckon Feastables could take ownership of this situation and lead the change by taking action and start producing bars that are actually free from these toxic heavy metals, and then really deliver a healthy alternative to Hershey's, which we know are filled with toxic heavy metals. And this way, they can build a lot of consumer trust, then show off their shiny new 4th badge on their website and take down the chocolate incumbents.
Nobody likes the Hershey's, so we don't need those anymore.
But until that happens, we still have to protect ourselves. According to experts, these chocolate reports just offer a small window into a larger problem. Heavy metals are present in many different foods, and limited testing and lack of labeling requirements leave us, the consumer, in the dark. But there are steps you can take to limit your exposure and protect yourself and your family. Some heavy metals like iron and copper are essential for your health in small amounts, but things like lead and cadmium serve no useful purpose in the body in any amount and are very toxic to us. So it sounds like we just have to stop eating chocolate now, doesn't it? Well, the key here is to understand that heavy metals accumulate in the body not just from food, but also from exposure to contaminated water, air, and many household and consumer products. So no matter what you do about your sweet tooth, you cannot completely avoid them, but you can certainly lower your exposure to them. And if you want our help to navigate everything that might be potentially harmful to your health, click the subscribe button and follow your curiosity even further by watching this video next.